Welcome CTAT members to our Career and Technical Student Organization update. Today, for this session, we have Austin Large, who is the Executive Director of the Texas FFA organization. Mr. Large, thank you for being with us and sharing this information with our members.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Large, I've got to tell you, I have two pretty highlights in my life, and one of them is I got my Lone Star FFA degree in 1984, and the second one is I'm one of like two people to ever have Barney McClure buy his lunch out of his own pocket.
There you go. Yeah, and you are correct. Barney didn't buy many people lunch, so
it was a hunger buster there at Dairy Queen. It wasn't, we didn't go to the steakhouse or anything, but it was pretty good.
Well, very good. And congratulations on your Lone Star FFA degree. Quite an accomplishment. That's excellent.
Rock on. It was a pretty good deal. Okay. So, Mr. Large, you're with the Texas FFA Association.
Yes, sir.
Certainly one of our most high-profile career and technical student organizations in the state. And so really what we're trying to do is we had several of our CTAT members email and call and post on our CTAT Connect forum or Connect CTAT forum. They wanted some information about what's going on with the student organizations, what's their plans, virtual. And so if you don't mind, if you could we go through and kind of answer these questions in relationship to the Texas FFA? And I guess the first one is, what activities are actually taking place this fall?
Sure. And yeah, we're excited that we are working hard to offer all of our same opportunities that have always been available to our FFA members during the fall semester, knowing that those may have to look a little bit differently, but we believe the opportunity is valuable and important. And so we're trying to preserve those as much as we possibly can. What I will say too is FFA is pretty decentralized. Obviously we do have some state level events, but we operate in 12 administrative area subdivisions of the state. And each of those areas is broken down into districts. And so we have 66 districts across the state. And like the state of Texas, we believe in local control, and we want our leaders and our teachers in those specific districts and areas, obviously, to be able to be empowered to make decisions about what their district and area level events will look like. So what I can share with CTAT members is that normal things that you would expect students to participate in this fall are still going to happen. Obviously, the State Fair of Texas is just wrapping up. The Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo is going to be taking place here soon. They just are working on the United Show, which is a joint effort between those two organizations. So I would expect, livestock shows. If you have any late fall or winter county livestock shows, I would anticipate those happening probably in a modified format. But again, I would check with your local ag teachers or county extension agents to get more information on those sorts of things happening in local communities. At the state level, we will be offering our fall leadership development events. However, this year, those are going to be taking place virtual at the state level. Now, districts and areas can opt for those events to be virtual, but we're following the governor's orders on youth clubs, the guidance document opened or provided on his Open Texas website. And so if districts and areas are able to host a face-to-face event because schools are able to travel and they're able to adequately social distance, wear masks, clean surfaces and commonly used items in between team performances, some of them will be conducted in person this fall. But our state level event which is normally in December, will take place virtually.
I'm guessing I'm sorry. I'm guessing that you could probably pull off the contest there at Sam Houston, but putting all those kids in the ballroom and getting them, there'd be no way to social distance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, Sam Houston, obviously, like any other university, is going to have limited capacity in all of their buildings to comply with social distancing. We just completed a survey of our teachers across the state. We had about 70% response rate. And what we're seeing is currently statewide, between 18 and 20% of our chapters are not currently able to travel. When those schools are able to travel, we asked what restrictions are in place, and about 30% of those that had travel restrictions aren't able to do overnight travel. So when you think about schools coming from, the panhandle of Texas or far west Texas, if they've qualified for our state event to take place in Huntsville, it would be really difficult for them to get to that if they're not allowed overnight travel. And so our board of directors just met this week and made the determination that our state event would be virtual. And then we know that in the Houston area, down in the Rio Grande Valley, even in and around Austin, several of our schools still aren't able to have students traveling, and they are unclear as to when those restrictions would be lifted. So we felt as the state organization that event should be done virtually so that every student would have the opportunity to participate should they qualify through their district and area.
Well, I know that pulling off that state LDE will be a tremendous feat because it's going to be 10 times the work that would be in person. And so we really appreciate you guys taking that on because it's so meaningful to our students.
Absolutely. And I think, I don't want to put words in the mouths of my counterparts with these other career and technical student organizations, but more than anything over the last several months, we've just really leaned into our mission of why we do what we do. And so, getting together in large groups, having those experiences in person is great, but that's not necessarily why we do it. Our competitions are about skill attainment, helping students to think critically, work effectively on teams, advocate for issues that are important to them in the agriculture industry. And so we still feel very confident that we can help students attain and develop those skills, even though these events may be virtual. And so we know that we'll get back to our in-person events at some point here in the future, but we know that for us, that skill attainment piece is the most important. And so that's why we're forging ahead and willing to put in the work. So.
And kind of to wrap up this first section, looks like most of the local and regional stock shows are still happening, even in a modified form. And then like UIL events, local, you may have some of the LDEs and other activities that'll be based on local decision, whether it's in person or virtual. And then one of the things that I know the administrators will be curious about, Houston, San Antonio, the big stock shows, kids already have animals for this if they purchased them. Does this look like that's going to happen even if it's modified?
I believe they will. I mean, I don't want to speak for our major livestock show partners. I know they've got some big decisions still to make. But from what we've seen with the state fair and the Heart of Texas Fair, I would assume that even if the shows don't operate as they normally do, that the livestock show component will still take place in some shape, form, or fashion, because that is the true core of the mission of those organizations. It's about Western heritage, agricultural development, and education. And so the livestock show component fits in very neatly to that mission for all of our partners. So I would assume that that's going to happen. But again, I don't want to speak for those organizations should they have to make some tough calls, later this fall or early next spring.
Well, and we understand that everything's kind of best guess.
Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah. So, and then if CT teachers or school administrators, if they want to locate information about the Texas FFA activities, what's the best resource for that?
Yeah, I would say our best resource for anything changing would be our COVID response page on our website. So that's just texasffa.org/COVID-19. And that's where we're cataloging any significant change in any of our state level events. And so if you were to log on to that today, you would see that as of Tuesday, it was updated with the information that our state LDE event would be happening virtually. So that's going to be the most up-to-date, easiest place to access information. We do have a live state ag ed calendar that's on our website. And so if you were to go to texasffa.org, go to participate and then events, the ag ed calendar is the first link there. And you can sort by whatever area that your school may be located in, a state level event, national event, anything related to validation. All of those dates can be sorted and you can see if it's still on, if it's changed, and what format it's going to be in.
Outstanding. And then is there the last question, is there a best method for receiving updates? Is there a listserv or just check in on the website?
I would encourage you to check in with the website and also have a conversation with your local ag science teacher. We send email blasts to our teachers pretty frequently, usually once a week or once every other week, letting them know of any changes or updates. And so they're going to be your best source of information. I know our school administrators get a lot of emails, so probably subscribing to a listserv isn't going to be the first thing on the top of their list. So I would recommend first checking the COVID page on our website, and then second, just having a conversation with your ag teacher to get the most up-to-date information. And we try to share that as much and as early as we possibly can, because we know folks have to make a lot of decisions there at the local level before they can even think about engaging with us at the district, area, or state.
We have roundtables monthly for our administrators to come in and kind of discuss issues back and forth, and not just administrators, teachers and counselors and supervisors. But one of the most common questions lately has been about FFA activities, and simply because they were the first ones. You know, when the state fair come up, you know, that took up a whole hour one time. Just when you're right, they probably could have just walked down the hall and asked the ag teacher.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, and that's the thing with what we do in FFA. We obviously, the safety of our members and our teachers is of utmost importance. When the governor provided his youth club guidance document in the beginning of June, it was updated in July, and that's the most updated copy that there is. That really has provided the guidance that we have given to our areas and districts in terms of operating an in-person event. And so those are the protocols that they're following. And then groups like the State Fair Heart of Texas, we try to relay information as we find it out to our teachers who might not be directly plugged into them. So again, our decentralized nature and the size of the organization makes it a little tough when we're all trying to calibrate and be on the same page. But I think our teachers, our area and district leaders, and our board of directors have done a great job trying to make sure to preserve opportunities for students, but also ensure their health and safety.
Mr. Large, we sure appreciate you being with us, and I know that this information will be invaluable. And I speak for members, I know, when I say, thank you for the work that you guys do there. And also, if there's anything we can do to help the student organizations carry off their fall activities or future activities, let us know, because I know we have members that'd be willing to jump in there and help. So
yes, sir.
Keep us in mind too.
Will do. Thank you.
Austin Large, Texas FFA. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.